Hi, my name is Christina Gadar, and in this video I'm going to discuss my book, Discovering Joe Pilates, a whimsical exploration of Joe's inventions. Now, the backstory to this book is that the illustrations depicted in this book were originally designated for my manual, Pilates for Children, Making Pilates Safe and Fun for Kids. My daughter illustrated many drawings depicting the Pilates apparatus as it might look in the mind of a child. And we added those to my textbook to break up the heavy detail of the exercises with a little bit of whimsy at the start of each chapter. But after I showed these illustrations to some of my students, I realized that they could be used in another way. One of my students planted the seed for that idea. He told me that while he found the illustrations very intriguing, he thought it was a pity that they would not be seen by a child, as they were designated for a book written for teachers. So the drawings that my daughter did when she was 8 years old are featured in this book. The manual also includes other illustrations she did when she was 9 and 10. And now I had this idea of, okay, I need to put these illustrations into a book, but I had no idea how I was going to make that happen until my daughter came home from 3rd grade one day with a homework assignment. And that assignment was to write limericks. Now, neither my daughter nor I have ever written limericks before, but we decided that this could be a great way to incorporate her illustrations into a book where children could enjoy her illustrations as well. So with the help of both my son and my daughter, we worked on limericks, and we used the photographs that both my son and daughter modeled for the manual that are also used, some of them are used in this book, and we came up with a format. What we decided was we would write a little bit about the history of the equipment, followed by a picture of the equipment being used for exercise, a limerick about the equipment, what the equipment might look like in the mind of a child, and then a limerick about the drawing. So here is a 2-page layout that I'm going to read to you. The armchair. At the time Joe developed his exercise method, there were many people with muscle weakness and even paralysis from a disease called polio. He invented a wheelchair with springs that could be used to strengthen the arms or legs. Many of the upper body exercises from his wheelchair are performed on the armchair today. The armchair is also known as the baby chair because it has very thin springs. When stronger students first use the chair, they are often surprised to find out that they can get the seat back to move forward with them as they stretch the springs. And here's a limerick about the armchair. This armchair will be a surprise if you only judge springs by their size. Both students who are weak and those at their peak are equally re-energized. The armchair looks like a pilot ejection seat. A pilot ejection seat flees a broken plane with lots of ease. Hit the button and go, and the next thing you know, you're flying up high in the breeze. Now, I'll admit some of these limericks are a little bit corny, but they truly are very fun. I do find this book to be both whimsical and educational. I think it is quite captivating to readers of all ages. In fact, I have had adult students really enjoy this book. For example, one of my students came to her lesson with a friend of hers who was visiting from out of town. And during my student's lesson, her friend read this book from cover to cover and was left with a better understanding of Joe Pilates, of his method, and his equipment. So in that respect, I find this very educational, very informative. And also it is really enjoyed by younger readers as well. In fact, little kids who are not even reading yet enjoy comparing the photos to the illustrations. When I was at my Pilates convention this past October in Orlando, I had a young brother and sister come up to my booth every single morning asking me to read to them parts of this book. So I really have discovered that it sits well with younger readers, it sits well with adult readers also, and I have found that Pilates teachers are enjoying having this in the waiting room of their studios. It is the perfect length and just the right amount of information and lightness to view and read when you're about to start your lesson, when you're waiting for your lesson to start. Now, this was a real collaborative effort between my children and I. It is very special to me for that reason. My children not only demonstrated the exercises, my daughter also did the drawings, as I mentioned. These featured the ones when she was 8 years old. And the other thing that makes this super special to me and my family, and I touch on it at the very back cover of the book, is that a portion of the royalties of this book are being donated to the Benjamin Gilkey Fund for Innovative Pediatric Cancer Research. Benji was a dear friend to our family. He was my daughter's classmate. He was a close friend to my son. He was our neighbor. I knew him since he was in his mother's womb. And he began Pilates training with me when he was 7 years old. At that time, though, he had been diagnosed with leukemia, and he passed away when he was 9 years old. And this experience really changed me, because not only did it inspire me to write again, but it showed me that teaching children has value. And I'll touch more on my interactions with him in my other video, Pilates for Children, on that manual video. But I'd like to say that this is a super special book on many levels. It's captivating, it's educational, it's informative, and I think that the whimsy is something that we all could use. So please enjoy discovering Joe Pilates. Thank you.